And we're live. Hello. I see there's at least 4 of you watching right now. Well, we're going to start right at 5:30. I just wanted to start the stream a little bit early so that people know that something's going on. So until then, you should probably do a little bit of preparation. Wherever you're working out, move the furniture just like I did. If you have a yoga mat, I recommend you get it. If you have a gi, I recommend you put it on. Don't forget a bottle of water. And if you have painter's tape or masking tape, that'll come in handy too. So we're going to start in about 3 minutes. Just hang on tight. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. You know, it can be a little crazy getting stuck inside your home. But just remember, it's only temporary. We'll get through it eventually, and then things will get back to normal. But in the meantime, we can still do the things that we usually did virtually. Just like we're doing right now. So again, stream starting at 5:30. That's when the class will begin. I expect it to take about a half hour. And then, if all goes well, we'll do it again next week. So, just hang tight. Just want to get the stream going. And I'll begin at 5:30. There's 2 more minutes. Again, if you're tuning in just now, make sure that you do some preparation. Move your furniture so that you have ample room to move around. If you happen to have a roll of painter's tape or masking tape, I recommend you go get it. Same thing if you have a yoga mat. And also, if you happen to have your gi, might as well put it on. That way, at least you don't forget how to tie your belt. So, again, I'll start exactly at 5:30. I have a clock that I can look at. Just starting the stream a little early so that you know that at least something's going on. We're going to start in about a minute. Again, do some prep. Get yourself a bottle of water so you can stay hydrated. There's about a half minute left, and that's when I'll begin. Again, if you're tuning in, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Crazy times. Well, it's just about 5:30, so we're going to begin. Hello and welcome to what could become the first of many online Jujitsu classes that are streamed every Wednesday at 5:30 right here on YouTube. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly are we going to do? Most of us are stuck at home, and many of us don't have a partner they're willing to train with. Well, that's not a problem, because in today's class, I'm going to show you a bunch of exercises and drills that you can do on your own, in your own home, as long as you have enough space to move around it. So let's begin by bowing in. Kyotsuke! Jujitsu kane taishite? Great. Alright. Before we move on to our warm-ups, I want to do a little bit of preparation. So, if you have your yoga mat and your roll of tape, I want you to lay it on the floor because we're going to use these two things to create a handy point of reference that we can use while we're doing our exercises and our drills. So take your roll of tape, and you're going to lie one long strip straight down the middle along the length of the yoga mat. Okay, and then once you do that, you're going to lay another strip going right across. But we need to do some measuring before we do that. So take the heel of one of your feet and line it up to the edge of where that tape begins. Then you're going to take your other foot and you're going to place it directly in front of it. And then from here, right where your toes are, that's where you're going to mark the second line. So you should be left with two lines creating a T shape where this part is roughly 2 feet wide. Okay? Now, keep it on the ground. You can do our warm-ups right on the yoga mat. This will become very useful when we move on to our balance exercises. Now, let's start the warm-ups. We'll start going from top to bottom. So, head exercises first. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and down. Mate. Then we're going to go side to side. Stretch your ear to the ceiling. Make sure you get a good stretch on your neck. And mate. Now, pendulum swing. Side to side. Roll your head right in front of your chest. Going from the left to the right. And back again. And mate. Now, take your arms. Make sure there's enough room. Put them out wide. And we're going to start with large circles. And as you go, gradually make the circles smaller and smaller until they're really tiny. And then from here, go in the opposite direction, starting very small and gradually getting bigger. And mate. Next, we're going to do trunk rotation. So stand feet shoulder width apart, and then you're going to rotate from side to side. Now, you can also use this as an opportunity to practice your Yawara, because this motion is exactly what you do for Katate Hazushi Ichi. And mate. Now, feet still shoulder width apart. Put your hands on your hips. And you're going to move them around in a circle. Make sure you keep your head steady the whole time. And reverse direction. And mate. Next, I want you to sit down on the mat. And then from here, take one arm, scoop up the leg that's on the same side, and with the other hand, work out your ankle. Just move it around. Don't forget to get the toes too. Then from here, take the bottom of the foot and put it in the crook of the elbow here. Take this arm out and wrap it around your leg. And hug it really tight. If this isn't enough of a stretch for you, keep this leg on the ground and then slowly fall back. Remember to pull it tight. Do the same thing, but on the other side. So take your arm, scoop underneath the leg on the same side, and with the other hand, work out the ankle. And again, don't forget the toes. And then from here, take the bottom of the foot, put it in the crook of the elbow, take the other arm out, and wrap it around your leg. Hug it really tight. And if that's not enough of a stretch, again, just lie down, but keep the other leg straight and on the ground too. And mate. Now, still sitting down, I want you to put your feet together and draw it in towards you, as close as you can get it, and take your knees and try to put them on the ground. Remember to keep your back straight. Now, while we're doing this, we're going to stretch our wrists. So take one hand, put it out, thumb down, and with the other hand, you're going to slap the back of it and draw it in. And once it's close to you, just push on it so that you get the stretch on the wrist. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So hand out, thumb down, other hand slaps the back of it, and draw it in and push in. Get the stretch on the wrist. And mate. Now, the last exercise, the last warm-up. You already know what it is. Lie back down. And what you're going to do is just lift your head off of the ground and keep it up the whole time. You're going to look forward towards your toes and then back up towards the ceiling. We're going to be doing it about 15 times. So we're ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Next, keep your head off the ground. We're going to look to the left and then to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then finally, we're going to swing our heads left and right until our ears touch our shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Head on the ground, relax, roll it side to side. Then come up, because that concludes our warm-ups. The next thing we're going to do are 2 exercises that we can do to improve our rolls and our falls. But don't worry, we're not going to be doing falls today. So, these 2 exercises are meant to practice common problems that I see a lot when we're doing our back falls and when we're also doing our backward rolls. So, to show you what we're going to do is we're going to start off in a kneeling stance. Doesn't matter which side. Okay? And then from here, we're going to keep our arms in front of us. We're going to roll back just like the back fall progression, the very first one. We're going to roll back, stretch as high as we can, and then come up on the other stance. So in the beginning, I had this foot forward, And then afterwards, I had this foot forward. Okay? So again, start in a kneeling stance, arms in front of you the whole time. Don't use them to get yourself back up. Roll back, stretch, come out the other side. See, even I can forget too. So start on one side, roll back, and come up the other side. We're going to be doing that a bunch of times. Okay, you ready? Roll back, come out the other side. Roll back, come up 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 the other side, and roll back, come up the other side. This exercise is one that you can do so that you can practice when you're doing your back falls, making sure that you get your hips up off the ground. Because remember, you don't want to leave them down here. Otherwise, when you take your back fall, it's going to hurt. And then it also lets you practice the coming up part when you're doing your forward rolls. Because again, this is a common problem a lot of people have. As they're coming up, they either use their hands or they get stuck and then have to come up this way. But remember, when you're practicing this, you have to make sure as you're coming up, your hands are in front of you and you're not stuck on the ground. Come up nice and solid. Okay? So, another thing that we're going to practice today deals with the backward roll. We're going to use this as an opportunity to practice the very first progression. So, I want you to lie down on your yoga mat and line it up so that your shoulders are right on this line, the one that cuts across. Okay? Arms out to the side. Remember, first progression, take your head and move it towards one shoulder. Alright? Doesn't matter which side. The important thing to remember is that if your head is on this side of the line, when you lift your knees up and over, they should be on the other side of the line. Okay? So when you have your head over here on this side, your knees as they come up should be right here. Alright? Lift them up and finish in Seiza. Okay? This is why we did the preparation in the beginning, so that we have these handy lines to reference. So again, lie down on the mat, move your head off to the side, and then roll over the other shoulder. Up, and right into Seiza. We're going to be doing that a couple times, switching sides each time. So now, my head's over here, and I have to lift my knees so that they touch on the opposite side of the line. Up, and Seiza. Ready? We're going to do it again. Lie down, head to the side, up, and Seiza. Now, if you have trouble doing this, if you're having trouble lifting your legs while you're on the ground, one thing that you can do is instead of starting down here, you can start sitting up. Keep your arms out, and now, as you fall backwards, that's when your legs come up with you. It makes it easier to do it. Here, roll, over the shoulder. Alright, 3 more times on both sides. Here, Up and over. Into Seiza. Other side. 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 Up and over. Into Seiza. Last one. Other side. Up and over. Into Seiza. Now, it seems very simple, but if you keep doing that, you're going to improve your backward rolls when you finally do the full progression. Before we move on to the next topic, let's take a water break. Grab your water, stay hydrated. Okay. The next thing we're going to focus on are exercises we can do to improve our balance. Because balance is absolutely critical in pretty much every aspect of Jiu-Jitsu. And it's vitally important that when you're doing this, you practice often. Because next week, we're going to be going over Nage footwork. And all these balance exercises that we're going to do are going to tie into that. So, the first one is super simple. You don't need a ton of space. Start off with your feet shoulder width apart. You're going to shift your weight over one foot. And then from here, pick up the other foot. So now you're only balancing on one foot. And just hold it. Don't move. The important thing to keep in mind here is that you need to find your balance, and then once you have that balance, settle into it. Don't move. Try not to move once you have your balance. Because if you start wailing around your limbs, you're going to increase the likelihood that you're going to lose your balance. So the important thing to work on here is finding your balance and maintaining your composure. Okay? Keep holding that balance. Keep that leg up. It's really simple. You don't need a lot of space. And it'll improve your jiu-jitsu. We're going to hold on to this just for a little longer. You can already feel my foot starting to hurt. But that's fine. Because once that foot starts to hurt, well, we can just shift over to the other foot and let that one take a rest. So switch to the other side and keep the other foot up. And that's it. Try not to move. Find your balance. Maintain your composure. Again, really simple exercise. You can do it while you're watching TV or anything else. See, even I need practice. Keep holding it. We're going to do another repetition. Just hold your balance. Okay, other side. And hold your balance. If you already have a couple color belts under your belt, you'll know that a lot of our techniques are done on one foot. A lot of throws require you to balance on one foot. A lot of Iwara require you to pivot on one foot, which is why it's very important that we know how to find our balance on just one foot. Okay, switch feet. Really simple. Keep holding it. One thing I forgot to mention is don't lock your knee up when you're doing it. You have to have a little bit of a bend. It'll help you maintain your balance by keeping your center of gravity a little bit lower. Just a few more seconds. And mate. Okay. Shake your feet up a little bit. The next thing we're going to work on are pivots. Pivots are really important in a lot of techniques. So, in order to practice, I want you to look to the side, okay? And I want you to pick up your heels off of the ground. So make sure your heels are not touching the ground. You have to be on the balls of your feet for this one, okay? A pivot is really simple. Keeping your heels off of the ground, you're just going to keep your feet, the balls of your feet right where they are, and you're just going to rotate on them. Okay? That's what a pivot is. You're just rotating on the balls of your feet. Okay? Once you get the hang of that, let's start the drill. From this neutral stance, I want you to pick your heels up, pivot to the side, and then settle into your defensive stance. Okay? And then what we're going to do is pick our heels up and pivot all the way around till we're facing the other direction. So still in your defensive stance, pick up your heels, pivot, and settle into your defensive stance. Okay? Again, pick up your heels, pivot, and settle into your defensive stance. Remember, speed is not important. Balance is important. Hold your balance the whole time. Pick up your heels, pivot, settle into your defensive stance. Pick up your heels, pivot, settle into your defensive stance. Pick up your heels, pivot, settle into your defensive stance. Pick up your heels, pivot, and settle into your defensive stance. One more time. Pick up your heels, pivot, settle into your defensive stance. Pick up your heels, pivot, and settle into your defensive stance. That's a really simple pivoting drill that you can do to improve your jiu-jitsu. Now, the other exercise we're going to do also deals with pivoting. And for this one, we're going to use our handy reference guide. So, I want you to stand on one side of the long line. So I'm going to stand right here. Feet shoulder width apart. What we're going to do here is we're going to take the foot that is furthest away from that line. We're going to pick up our heels and we're going to put that foot on the other side. Okay, so I started here. I pick up my heels and then the foot that's far away crosses over to this side. Make sure you don't go onto this side. Stay on this side of the line. Okay, you pick it up, cross over, and then from here, pivot until you're facing the other direction. Alright? And then from the same spot, you pick up your heels and you're moving the same exact foot again. Over to this side and finish your pivot. Okay? Again, pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Take your time. Find your balance. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Again, pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Okay? Now, for that one, we've been using our right foot. So now from here, we're going to go over to the other side so that our other foot is now the one that's furthest away. So from here, we're just doing it the same thing, but with the other foot. So again, pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. Pick up your heels, cross over, and finish your pivot. That drill is a little bit more complex than the other ones, but it'll become super important next week. Because next week, I'm going to go over nage footwork. And if you haven't realized this already, that pivoting motion is exactly the same as what you do on all of your hip throws. It's the same thing. Okay? You see it in a lot of our techniques. So, that's about it for the class. It's very important that you take all these drills and exercises that we've done and practice. At the very least, 2 more times before next week. But if you can do it every day, fantastic. It doesn't take that long. You can do it on your own and right in your own home. If you have a yoga mat and you already put the tape down, just leave it, because we're going to be using the same thing next week. Again, as a reference. Alright? Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. I hope you stay safe. If you have any questions, well, you can just contact Barb or contact me, and then I'll take some time next week to address them. Thank you very much. Closing Kyotsuke, Jujitsu Kanetaishite, and Rei. Awesome.